Miami Dolphins 30, New York Jets nothing. Dolphins move to 10-4. Jets fall to 5-9. Miami had this one early and often. Zach Wilson fumble on a sack, set up an early touchdown, and Miami didn't look back here.
Yeah, and with no Tyreek Hill as well. That's a reasonably big statement from Miami's point of view, is that they were able to do it without, a guy that had been chasing 2,000 yards.
Against the Jets defense.
Yeah.
There's something to that. Good fodder for Tua fans, and then good fodder for the Wit out.
I think they need, so as long as they have one of Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, I think that offense is fine and able to function the way it does at its best. If they lose both of them, which they threatened to do in this game, Jalen Waddle had a play earlier where he got cracked and had to leave the game. It's like, uh-oh. Now if you don't have Tyreek Hill already and you've just lost Jalen Waddle, that might be a problem. But then he comes back and you're still good. Once you got one of those guys, he just steps into the Tyreek Hill role. He's probably as close an analog as you're going to find to Tyreek Hill in the NFL. So it still functions. He's still lightning quick. He can make all those kind of cuts. Maybe you're losing a slight percentage at the top end of where Tyreek Hill can do that only he can do. But Waddle's a pretty close replica of that, so it still functions.
Yeah, and that's what makes the Dolphins' offense special, or potentially special, when they're both on the field trying to cover both guys. I mean, it also helps, Tua's lightning quick release and everything that he brings to the table. It works better because those guys get into their route so quickly. I think we were talking about this the other day. Tua can release it even quicker because they're getting into their breaks quicker and he's seeing space. I mean, he was on today, other than basically two throws, almost overthrew a screen that still got caught, threw one that easily could have been a pick six near the end of the half too that got dropped. But other than that, 22 of 25 for Tua for 247, his official numbers, 21 of 24 for 224, including that 60-yard touchdown to Waddle, just a dime on that bomb. And that was it, man. I mean, Waddle finishes with 142 of Tua's 224 passing yards in this game. Run game actually didn't do a whole lot for Miami. On the other side, though, the Jets could not do anything offensively. Zach Wilson dropped back 16 times. This is crazy. Dropped back 16 times. He was under pressure 12 of the 16 dropbacks, and 4 of them were sacks, including that strip sack. And it was one of those, I thought the Jets' game plan was fine. They kept trying to run play action. They kept trying to slow down the rush. Every time Zach Wilson completed the fake handoff, Dolphin in his face.
Yeah.
Every single time. So Wilson, he left with did they call it a head injury or officially a concussion?
They called it a head injury that wasn't a concussion, weirdly. They were clear in the distinction of he's not in the concussion protocol. It is a head injury, but not a concussion.
Okay, so
I don't know
he
what
left.
that is.
Yeah, Wilson finishes 4 of 11 for 26 yards, sacked 4 times. Trevor Siemian comes in, wasn't much better. Dominant outing by the Dolphins defense. And honestly, I mean, I guess Robert Saleh, I didn't hear the quotes, but he was blaming the offensive line, and it's tough to not point at the offensive line again for the Jets because they just could not block.
Yeah, but it wasn't just the line. See, this is the thing. The line is bad, and it gets whooped one-on-one regularly. But the play where they forced a fumble on Zach Wilson and Miami gets set up at the 1-yard line and punches it in a couple of plays later for a touchdown, that's a complete and total protection breakdown, which generally speaking, those are not on the offensive line. When somebody's wide the hell open and free, there's often a quarterback problem in there as well.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Either way,
this was not where one. I don't think this was a case of one offensive lineman picking the wrong assignment and suddenly there's total breakdown, wide open guy in the backfield, rusher on the quarterback, forces a fumble. So in addition to the line being terrible on an individual level, it's also bad on a holistic, protection level. They're not getting the right protections in place, even if they were able to hold up on a one-on-one basis. So it's a catastrophe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just bad across the board for the Jets. Not much else to say here. I got no more use for this game except for what's going to happen coming up for the Dolphins. Their last 3 weeks of the season, they're sitting here at 10-4. And like the Ravens, they're two teams who control their own destiny. So if the Dolphins win out, they're the number 1 seed. If the Ravens win out, they're the number 1 seed. That's true because they play each other. The Dolphins' schedule over the next 3 weeks, they've got the Cowboys at home, then they're at Baltimore, and then they're home against the Bills. And, man, for a team like the Dolphins where you look back at their schedule and say, okay, where is they're 10-4, but where are the wins against good teams? You know, they lost to Buffalo by a lot, lost to the Eagles, lost to Titans in that weird heartbreaker. It was a good bounce back by them, by the way, after the Monday night heartbreaker 6 days earlier. And they also lost to the Chiefs. So you're looking for the Dolphins to win against a good team. Well, they got 3 chances here. Cowboys, Ravens, and Bills to finish the schedule. 10-4 Dolphins. I'm assuming Tyreek Hill's back maybe for next week. He was close.
I would think so, yeah.
But, man, it's going to be a fun finish to the season, I think, for the Dolphins.
Do you see there was a play where, what the hell is his name now? Robbie Chosen?
Yes.
Lined up offsides in a Kadarius Toney tribute act. And the sideline judge was like running 2 yards onto the field to try and get him the hell off the line. Like, the Kadarius Toney at least looked towards the sideline and gave the signal, even if he then looked back and ignored whatever was coming back from the sideline. Robbie didn't even look, just sort of lined up offsides. The side judge is like, dude, back. Nothing. He's like runs 2 yards onto the field. It's like off the line. And still not. I just thought that was in contrast to the, how much should you expect from the side judge in terms of trying to get players on side? That guy went out of his way to get Robbie Chosen back on side, and it still didn't make much difference.
Still not listening.
Yeah.